Hello Internet! A few days ago I finally watched Catching Fire, and if I were a Pokemon, I would be this one. Yeah, so the movie came out a pretty long time ago, and I only had a chance to see it pretty recently. So instead of me just reviewing this movie, I'm just going to gush over it and fangirl. Two qualities I exercise a lot in my life. Let me put a disclaimer out there saying that I cried a lot during this movie. I was a puddle of tears in my seat, and thank goodness I had napkins in my bag because I would just be a very gooey mess. I'm gonna start off by talking about the characters because there's some new characters as well as some really good character development in this movie. So I'm gonna begin by talking about Katniss. This is the part where Katniss shows two parts of herself. One part that is really reserved, and it's like the first book Katniss where she doesn't really show what she's thinking or feeling, and then the other part is her just breaking at the seams and not being able to handle all this pressure put on her. And so Jennifer Lawrence played that so well. I just couldn't handle it! Next character I'm going to talk about is Gale. I was never a Team Gale kind of girl when I was reading this book. Kind of thought he was a douchebag. I want to just say that I agree with Catty-tastic about everything she said about Katniss and Gale being together in that movie. It felt weird. I never really understood Katniss's motivation and thoughts behind, going after Gale like that. It wasn't very clear because in the first movie she didn't seem like she liked Gale all that much, and then they were just friends, and then all of a sudden in this movie she just changed. And then the next thing I want to talk about is Peeta. Peeta looks like a man now, which makes me less uncomfortable about Katniss and Peeta making out, because in the first movie I thought they looked like siblings. Like, I thought that Peeta looked like Katniss's kid brother, and that creeped me out so much as a person who has a younger brother. Ugh. But in this movie he looks like he's all grown up and he knows what he wants and he's going after what he wants. That chemistry between Peeta and Katniss is amazing. They're so sweet together because they're such opposites. Prim is so cool. I love her, and it makes me sad. By the way, this is all like spoilers. Mockingjay spoilers, everything spoilers. It makes me sad that Prim is such a dynamic character right now, and she is just going to kick the bucket. Yep, in the last movie probably, and it's gonna be so sad, and I'm probably gonna cry a lot. I like how she just grew so much in the span of the first movie and the second movie. She just grew up. You could see that she's going to be a nurse eventually when the war starts. You could tell because of that syringe part where she just like, okay, I got this, I'm gonna stab Gale in the back. The relationship, the sister relationship, is amazing. We don't have enough of that in books, especially between female characters. We don't have enough female characters just bonding and going to the ends of the earth for each other, because girls do that, alright? I'm sorry to break it to ya, but yes, girls have awesome relationships with one another. Alright, let's talk about Finnick. Let me just start off by saying that Finnick is not really my type of guy. Like, I wouldn't go out and like be goo gaga about that kind of guy, but I can see the appeal. I really can. He was extremely charming. His accent was a little weird for me because I know he's British, and so there was this parts where he just sounded weird. Like he had marbles in his mouth or something. It happens, I'm pretty sure Americans speaking in a British accent sound super weird too. And I like how you just don't know if he's good or not. He has this weird, sultry, very suspicious look about him, especially with the sugar cube. I was like, what are you gonna do with that sugar cube, man? And I was really surprised about how good of a fighter he was, because Hamish said he was a good fighter, and then he went off and like fought those monkey things, baboons, and yeah, I was really surprised that he could fight that well. On the other hand, Peeta cannot fight very well at all. He just slashes at things and hopes for the best. And there's this one part where a baboon just accidentally falls on top of Peeta's sword thing, and Peeta's like, oh, okay. You can't really talk about Finnick without talking about Joanna. I hated her in the books. I really did. I was so annoyed by her because she was just so abrasive and she was just not likable to me. I was like, this kind of person in real life, I would not be friends with her. But then when I saw Jenna Malone's portrayal of Joanna, I was like, oh hell yeah, this girl power. Yes, this girl is awesome. I loved when she cursed in her interview, and I love how they bleeped it out because that's something that TV would totally do in this day and age. Jenna Malone is already my girl crush ever since Donnie Darko in Pride and Prejudice. And just basically any movie that Jenna Malone is in, I fell in love with her. Haymitch is the same. Didn't know he had a wig. I figured that out in watching, I think, another video on BookTube about it. He was awesome, but there's this one part at the end that I need to bring up where he pushes Katniss against the wall and he puts her hand over her head, and yeah, and it looks weirdly sexual, and I was like, no! You're supposed to be a mentor! Why are you like this close to her face, about to kiss her mouth? Plutarch, I don't really remember Plutarch that much in the books. I remember his name, that was it. I forgot he had such a significant role in the rebellion. So I was really sincerely surprised when he turned out to be one of the good guys. Really was. And I think that not having clues on him definitely made it so much twisty and awesome. And Effie Trinket, that woman breaks my heart. She does. And she's a really, really awesome character. I think Hank Green talked about her before and said that she's actually not an evil character. She just grew up in a culture that promotes evil things like exploitation of people and the Hunger Games and all that stuff. She just grew up in that culture, but when she sees something is completely unfair and she has grown to really love these people, she cannot help but feel bad for them even though she's not supposed to. So I really love that part when Effie Trinket cried in front of Peeta and Katniss and then said that they don't deserve that. I love that part so much, and it just shows that the people's minds are changing. And even in the capital, they're becoming more sympathetic and empathetic. Beetee, Mags, Wiress, exactly how I imagined them, actually. Didn't know that Beetee was black, though. But I dig it. So here are a few things that were pretty awesome during the movie. I really liked the champagne scene with President Snow when he took a drink of champagne and then a little blood came out. Because in the book you get the olfactory sense that something is awry within this man, and you could smell the blood in his mouth. But in the movie you can't really show that very well. So I really like that they use the champagne to show that he is internally bleeding. Victor's Village, I don't know who brought this up. I think Rincey Reeds did. And Rincey Reeds was saying that the Victor's Village looked really creepy and awesome, and she wished that they spent more time in the Victor's Village, and I have to agree with all of that. It just looked like something out of Tim Burton with all those houses and the neighborhood and the walkway. This looks so dead and creepy. I also really like the parts with President Snow, the extra scenes that you don't really get inside the books. It worked so perfectly. It explained a lot of the things that did happen in the book, and all of a sudden the Quarter Quell happened because I think there was like a conversation between Plutarch and President Snow about how to bring down Katniss. And Katniss ends up deriding that plan, and then they have to conclude by bringing up a Quarter Quell. So thought that was pretty genius. And the granddaughter saying, "Everyone wears their hair like this at school." You know, the side ponytail dealio. I thought that was really cool. His granddaughter is so adorable. And then there were a few things I was like, about. First of all, where is Peeta's family? I think I questioned this in the book too. I mean, you have no idea where Peeta's family is, and then Peeta goes off and says, well, I have family too. And I'm like, where are they? Because he's by himself at his house watching the TV. And he should really just go over to Katniss's house because he just looks entirely lonely back there. And you only get to see his family once in the first movie. The only part that was kind of about Katniss and about Jennifer Lawrence's portrayal of Katniss was when they were in the elevator and then Joanna infamously takes off all her clothes and Jennifer Lawrence makes this face. I'll put it right here so you guys can see it. I just thought that was really out of character for Katniss to make that face. It seems more like a Jennifer Lawrence thing to do rather than a Katniss Everdeen thing to do. But that's my opinion on that. This might not really their fault, more my screwed up mind's fault. When they were inside the puddle and the baboons were attacking them like cray, and then I don't know who said it, but I think Peeta or Finnick, one of the guys said it, and they were like, let's get to the beach, and then my first thing that went to my mind was, let's get to the beach, each of us gonna wait, but they say what they're gonna say. Yeah, Nicki Minaj was playing in my head. Let's list all the parts that I've cried in, because I think I cried, I want to say 60 to 70% of the movie. The first time I cried in that movie was when Katniss shot at the quail, and then she ended up having a PTSD moment in which she saw a flashback of the Hunger Games before. That made me cry. It opened up the water gates. And then when they were on tour and oh my gosh, that part in District 11 with Rue and the guy who got shot by the end of it. When Gale was getting whipped. When Katniss saw the mural of Rue on the floor in the game room area when they were getting evaluated, of which they were not really evaluated by the end of it. When Cinna died. When Peeta almost died from getting shocked and Katniss was yelling over his body. Nope. When one of the reclusive people from District 6 died in Peeta's arms and Peeta was trying to be really, really sweet and say all these nice things. Just watch the colors of the sunset. Nope, I'm not gonna remember that. Or when the Jabberjays were jabbering. Why? Towards the end when she's up in the hovercraft thingy and she yells that Peeta should have been the one who was living and she was just like whimpering on the ground because they tranquilized her. At the end when Katniss just realized that her entire district was gone, and just think about that for a second. If your like entire neighborhood was gone. Whoa, oh my goodness, that's so freaking sad. I'm pretty sure there were more parts that I cried about, but I just don't really remember. So I hope you have a great day, and I hope you guys watch the movie. This is my video gushing about it, and I'll probably just gush about things instead of review them, because review just doesn't sound good for me. I can't review things. It's hard. Okay, well, I'll see you guys later with another video. Bye!